A new directive from the governor as we see the number of COVID cases continue to rise. Plus, as we see those cases spike, school districts discuss fall classes in Great Falls. And later, a fashionista is getting creative with her quarantine, how she's using beadwork to bring people together.
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Good evening and thanks for joining us on this Wednesday night. I'm Keely Van Middendorp. Tim McGonigal is on assignment. First tonight, more details about the governor's latest order today mandating masks in certain areas of the state. Take a look at this map. The highlighted areas indicate places with more than 4 active cases, meaning that you will need to wear a mask in public. With more on what this means for residents, here's MTN Chief Political Reporter Mike Dennison.
Well, it's official. From now on, masks will be required in public places and counties in Montana that have 4 or more active cases of COVID-19. Governor Bullock made that announcement today at the Capitol, saying that the voluntary efforts were not enough. The cases were rising too much, too fast. He wanted to take this step to try to get things back in control as they were 2 months ago before we entered phase 2. It was also asked whether people had a constitutional right not to wear a mask. Governor Bullock replied that you have a constitutional right to make yourself sick, but you don't have the same right to make others sick. Governor Bullock also announced that he's making available $75 million in COVID-19 money to help schools reopen this fall, to help them pay for those mitigation measures that are going to be needed as schools hope to bring students back to the classroom in the coming months. Reporting from the Capitol, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Thanks, Mike. As the governor's order comes as Montana breaks another 24-hour record for cases, the state added at least 150 new cases since Tuesday, with 5 more cases confirmed tonight in Cascade County. Nationwide, the U.S. recorded more than 67,000 new cases of coronavirus Tuesday, breaking the record for the number of new cases reported in the U.S. in a single day. And as coronavirus continues to spread, some local governments are requiring masks be worn in public at all times. Now, some large companies are doing the same for their stores. MTN's Isaiah Dunk takes a look at the latest large business making masks mandatory.
On the same day that Governor Steve Bullock announced a mask mandate for the state of Montana, some of the state's larger businesses had already begun to take steps of their own. On Wednesday, Walmart announced that starting July 20th, masks would be required to shop inside. With 2 supercenters and a Sam's Club location in town, Walmart has a significant presence in Great Falls. The company said the policy is to maintain consistency across all its stores, as 65% of its locations are in areas where there was already a mask mandate. Before Wednesday, mask mandates in Montana were few and far between, but Great Falls customers were already taking heed of Walmart's policy.
I think it's important that we express and do proper health procedures to keep everyone safe. Personally, I have an immune deficient mom and I have a lot of friends who are immune deficient. And I just think that it's best that we all protect ourselves just until this virus takes its course. I think it's a smart thing to do.
For Sam's Club members specifically, masks will already be available at the door. This is far from the first time a large retailer has made such an announcement. Starbucks began implementing its policy this week, and Costco has had a mask rule since early May. Governor Bullock's directive only applies to counties with 4 or more active cases. Now, if Cascade County were to fall below that threshold, Walmart's policy would still apply. The company says that customers have been compliant in areas that already have mandates, and they expect that to continue elsewhere. In Great Falls, Isaiah Dunk, MTN News.
Thanks, Isaiah. And earlier today, Great Falls Public Schools Board of Trustees held a special meeting to discuss the upcoming fall semester. The board has approved a draft of the plan, which will be made public on the district website tomorrow at 11 a.m. At that time, Superintendent Tom Moore will be hosting a Facebook Live session to introduce the plan and answer some questions from the public. The superintendent says they will be opening schools on August 26, regardless of what phase the state is in. Districts will implement block schedules to reduce frequency of movement and allow time for cleaning. Teachers, students, and support staff will all be responsible for some level of cleaning to assist custodial staff. No limit will be placed on how many students can be in the building at once, and the superintendent says masks will be required in most settings.
It's a multifaceted plan. It addresses everything from busing and how lunches are going to be served to the sanitation protocols, and then obviously masking and how we're going to approach that.
Again, the plan will be made available to the public tomorrow at 11 a.m. Superintendent Moore will be hosting a Facebook Live session to answer some questions about that plan. The Board of Trustees will meet again on August 10th to go over the plan and make any changes. Teachers, students, and parents are invited to review that plan and email any questions or comments to the superintendent directly. And following up on an active police scene in the Electric City earlier today, Great Falls Police blocked off several streets in the 1000 block of 7th Avenue North in an attempt to locate an individual just before 5 p.m. Several residents were asked to vacate their homes for their safety. The scene was cleared shortly before 7 p.m. The GFPD told KRTV that officers were searching for a sexual violent offender who failed to register. An update to social media says officers were unable to locate that person. Turning now to weather, fire concerns grow as we continue to warm up to tomorrow. Our Storm Tracker weather team is here to tell us more. Grant Garland joins us now. Good evening, Grant.
Good evening, Keely, and good evening, everybody. And that's right, we are looking at a very warm day tomorrow. Temperature is going to be in the 90s for some of us, and with hardly any humidity. I mean, that is just going to create a further case for fire weather. So please make sure you're avoiding any burning at all possible. Now, temperatures right now 63 degrees, 70 in Helena, 67 in Glasgow, 66 in Havre, and 64 in Cutbank. And with our winds, well, we aren't really registering hardly any. I mean, 6-mile-per-hour winds in Helena, that's about it. As far as radar is concerned, over the last 3 hours, we have been looking at a few clouds trying to make their way towards the southeast. In Lewistown, just a few clouds out there, but we are expecting to have a clear night, mostly clear night, 51 degrees in Great Falls, with some winds gusting possibly up to 20 miles an hour. For our friends in Helena, clear skies tonight with 52-degree temperatures. Starting out the day for Great Falls tomorrow, 56 degrees. It will be nice and sunny throughout the day. And the same situation for our friends in Helena. We're going to start out the day, though, a little bit warmer at 57. Now, we are looking at a cool down this weekend, but by how much? Well, stick around for more, but for now, back to you, Keely.
Thanks, Grant. We'll check back in with you soon. New at 10, many of us are spending more time at home, and we might have picked up a new skill or gotten back to work on an old hobby. In Rocky Boy, a self-described fashionista used her sewing and beading skills to put a unique twist on a face mask and create socially distant cultural connections.
Making masks, that was, my therapy.
As an HR generalist for the Chippewa Cree tribe, Rebecca Jarvie began working from home at the start of the pandemic. The lifelong beader and sewer used her free time to create cloth masks after she saw call-outs online. Then, her 15-year-old son Royce inspired an artistic mask with even more meaning.
Art definitely connects us, and us as Indigenous people, that's what brings us together.
After 30 hours of work, this is what Jarvie designed.
I just made it in a time where, the whole world was going through something.
Her mask, called Night and Day, isn't protective. Rather, it's a reflection of Jarvie's life.
I really wanted to just create something that represents me.
The Louis Vuitton material is from thrifted purses. The horsehair is from a trade, and the beads are from friends overseas.
Each material has a story of where it came from.
Her son even helped, beating one of the ropes.
I never realized that I would have received a response that it did receive.
Jarvie also posted a photo online, including in a large Facebook group called Social Distance Powwow.
What kind of response have you gotten from people after you posted the mask?
Wow. People from all over the world has messaged and emailed and reached out. I got emails from Russia, Germany, New Zealand.
It's a sense of community that stemmed from some creativity and the click of a mouse.
What quarantine has taught me is to look inward and then to bring out, your talents and what you know how to do and to share them with people.
And Jarvie usually coordinates a fashion show in September in Rocky Boy. This year, it will be virtual. Just ahead on the 10 o'clock news with agriculture, our #1 industry, a look at the disruptions from this pandemic now.
From From Montana's news leader, you're watching the MTN 10 o'clock news.
And welcome back. Well, Senator Steve Daines was in Great Falls today for a discussion on the state of agriculture in Montana and the coronavirus food assistance program. He and the USDA Undersecretary listened to Montanans discuss some of the challenges they have faced during this pandemic. For more on the senator's visit to Great Falls, here's MTN's Matt Holzaffel.
Senator Daines and Undersecretary Northey spent their morning listening to farmers, ranchers, and representatives from different organizations across Montana on a variety of topics, including the effectiveness of the Paycheck Protection Program, how the CFAP loans have affected Montana residents so far, and even what a second wave of the program might look like. After a tour of ag trucks and equipment, Daines and Northey headed down to Bumgarner Farm to hear how some Montana residents have been affected by the coronavirus pandemic.
Agriculture is our #1 industry in Montana, and that's why it was so important to have the Undersecretary of Agriculture come from Washington, D.C. to Montana. Literally, we're here on a wheat farm.
Roundtable attendees discussed topics ranging from disruptions in production.
We feed the world, but we found out in the last 2 or 3 months that we're struggling.
To meatpacking market manipulation.
If something isn't done from a legislative standpoint immediately, this entire cattle feeding industry and the cattle industry following it is going to change, and it's not going to be to the benefit of producers.
Senator Daines also talked about a potential second wave of funding for the coronavirus food assistance program, but wouldn't say if the relief amount would be another $19 billion.
I would anticipate that Congress will look at replenishing that fund, because when that package passed in March, it was based on a set of assumptions that this was going to probably be something that was more short-lived, maybe a few months. The number will be to be determined, but clearly I support putting more funds back into that program, like we did with PPP.
Senator Daines ended the roundtable by saying that we know much more now about COVID-19 than we did originally back in March. He also added that without the agriculture industry, there is simply no economy in Montana. In Great Falls, Matt Holzaffel, MTN News.
Thanks, Matt. And continuing our coverage now of a topic we first brought you earlier this week, the national coin shortage is affecting businesses of all shapes and sizes, though one Helena business that uses quarters more often than most said that they're not feeling too much of an impact yet. Kevin Schulte, owner of Little Dipper Laundromat, said that they haven't felt that big of an impact from the shortage. Right now, Schulte said he has no intention of making any drastic changes, but if the shortage were to stick around for an extended amount of time, he said that he would have to make some changes, though he's not thrilled about the ones that he would have to make. Those include a token or credit debit card system. The Federal Reserve says that as states reopen, the number of banks making requests for coins has gone up, while coin production is still down. Staying in our capital city, as local businesses are fighting to stay alive, one new restaurant is looking to take on the challenge. MTN's Sam Hoyle caught up with the owner of Jalisco Mexican Grill.
Right now might not seem like the ideal time to open a restaurant, but for Mark Barragan, he feels this time will allow his new business to start at their own pace.
With the restriction, it's going to give us the opportunity to start slow, even though. And sometimes when, I don't know if you're familiar with other businesses, when they open, everybody heads to that place, to give it a try and stuff like that.
Enter Jalisco Mexican Grill. Barragan, who was born in Jalisco, Mexico, is opening the restaurant as an homage to his home state and country. But he knows there will be challenges along the way.
It's going to be hard because of the other questions that we have to make and the restrictions and sanitizing everything.
There's a lot of uncertainty that comes with this COVID-19 pandemic, what to do, where to go, and how to respond. But Barragan is moving from a server position at a restaurant to now the owner of Jalisco Mexican Grill. So he feels like he has a good grasp on what to do when the time comes and he's ready to open. And in his eyes, the only place to go is up.
Hopefully we're going to make it here great. And like I said, this is a real opportunity. I see it as a big opportunity, a nice opportunity, and we got the people and the resources to help us succeed. So we got the attitude as well.
Reporting in Helena, Sam Hoyle, MTN News.
Well, make sure if you are going to be outside tomorrow that we are going to be practicing staying outside limited amounts, using a lot of sunscreen and drinking plenty of water because it's going to be a hot day. We're going to talk about all this and more coming up after this break.
Storm Tracker weather starts now with Grant Garland.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope that you have had a great Wednesday. We are now one day closer to Friday, and it is going to be a beautiful day tomorrow. It is going to be a little bit hot, but you know what? It's okay. Just drink plenty of water. Now, today's the average for this time of year is around 84 degrees. Today's high was around 82. The record was set back in 2007. It was 104 degrees. That was also the year that Rihanna's Umbrella came out. I was in the 8th grade. I still remember that. Take a look at this scene, will you? Isn't it gorgeous? Looks beautiful overlooking the Milwaukee station out there. And earlier there were just explosions of orange and very nice contrast with the blue. Temperature 66 degrees. That humidity is at 45%. We've seen it increase as the night has started to wane on. Not looking at any wind gusts though, so that's the good news there. Elsewhere we're seeing 66 degrees in Havre, 60 out towards Lewistown, 67 in Glasgow, 63 in Jordan. Out towards Helena though, you guys take the cake for the warmest temperature on the board besides Billings at 70 degrees. And as far as our winds are concerned, we aren't looking at any problems anywhere. It looks great. Calm conditions out towards Kalispell. Over the last 3 hours, we have been looking at a few clouds making their way down towards Lewistown, but we are expecting a mostly clear to clear night for pretty much everybody, so we won't have to worry about any thunderstorms at all. And this is all thanks to a high pressure that is out towards Bozeman that's really been influencing the entire Treasure State, and it's going to continue to do so into tomorrow. As we go throughout the day tomorrow, it will be the hottest day of the year. Typically, we see 90-degree temperatures right around the mid to later part of August. Well, we're going to experience that tomorrow. We are expecting a bit cooler conditions on Friday, and then as we go throughout the weekend, we're going to even see cooler temperatures. But you know, don't get too excited because we're only going to be expecting low 80s. But you know, I mean, speaking of the 80s, wouldn't that be a great time to be alive? I wish I could have been alive then. Taking a look at our next 48 hours, high pressure is not going to move so much from now through 6 in the morning. It's going to continue to influence our entire weather pattern, but it starts to break down as we go throughout the day tomorrow in the afternoon. And our next weather maker, which it really is going to be causing much of a scene, we're going to have a low pressure that starts to make its way out towards northern Saskatchewan, and the cold front that's going to start to, it's really going to kind of become stationary to a degree before it quickly makes its way through Great Falls. And around 9:30 in the evening on Friday night, then we're going to be looking at that low pressure making its way down towards Wyoming. This will bring, though, a lot of humidity in for the area, which is great news for us because we desperately need it. And we could be looking at a mostly sunny to partly sunny day, depending on the timing of everything. Going throughout the day tomorrow, we aren't looking at much of a disruptions in terms of winds. We're seeing 10 to 20 mile per hour winds by around 7 p.m. That will quickly die down, so you don't have to worry about that. Our temperatures will trend to get warmer tomorrow, but then steadily decrease by Sunday 80 degrees before increasing on Wednesday to 91 degrees. Now you can always stay weather aware by following me on my social media page at Meteorologist Grant Garland on Facebook, as well as downloading that free KRTV KXLH app. Tonight, temperatures falling down to around 51 degrees here in Great Falls, 52 in Helena, 47 in White Sulphur Springs, a lot of 52s in Havre, Hayes, as well as Malta. Going throughout the day tomorrow, we're going to be looking at temperatures warming up to around 82 degrees by 1 p.m. For our friends in Helena, looking at temperatures around 81 as well at around 1 p.m. and staking to the 80s by around 7 p.m. As we head throughout the day tomorrow, 90 degrees for Thursday, 86 on Friday, looking at only a chance for scattered showers and thunderstorms on Sunday. And then we're going to be looking at drying back out on Monday for 81-degree temperatures. As far as Helena is concerned, we're looking at temperatures staying a little bit cooler, but 82 degrees on Saturday and Sunday, Keely.
Even if it's the alternative variety, details on a league that may be on its way to Big Sky Country next.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching the MTN 10 o'clock news.
And welcome back. Well, the 2020 Pioneer League baseball season was canceled in June, but Centene Stadium will see plenty of use this summer. The Voyagers unveiled a new kickball league this week that will run every Monday and Wednesday at the ballpark through August. It's an idea that management has been tossing around for years and felt there was no better time to launch.
We've had this idea for probably a couple years at least of something that we could do. but we just haven't had the time, haven't had the right time to do it. And with no baseball around here this summer, we thought this would be a perfect time to give it a try.
Spectators are welcome and admission is free, so if you just want to spend a summer night at the ballpark, the concessions and beer stand will be open for each game. Well, a baseball league for teens and adults with autism and other special needs is eyeing an expansion to Montana by next spring. Alternative Baseball was founded by Georgia native Taylor Duncan back in 2016 after he was denied opportunities to play due to an autism diagnosis. What started with one team and a handful of players in his hometown near Atlanta has grown to over 400 athletes and 50 programs across 21 states. Duncan's goal is to take the league nationwide, and Montana is one of the targets.
We want something ideally in every single area in the state of Montana. Now, does that all have to happen at one time? No, but the more coach managers we can find in those areas to help us start new programs, then we can get started in spring of 2021.
And if you're interested in getting involved, you can apply to volunteer or donate to the Alternative Baseball website. We've shared that link at KRTV and montanasports.com. Stick around. A final check of your forecast is next.
Temperatures tomorrow, 90 degrees. It's going to be a hot day, 86 on Friday and 81 on Saturday. We're going to introduce the chance for scattered storms on Sunday before warming back up next Wednesday to 91. And for our friends in Helena, well, again, it's going to be a hot day tomorrow, looking at only an isolated chance for a thunderstorm or two on Sunday before warming up to 90 on Wednesday.
Well, a zoo in Chile welcomed a teetering new baby into its family recently with the birth of Atanasio, the first white rhino calf born in Latin America during the coronavirus pandemic. The 165-pound rhino was born on July 5th and has been a hit ever since his public debut. His mom, Hannah, carried him for 18 months and delivered him in 5 hours. Zoo officials say that Atanasio, named for the Catholic Saint Athanasius, is completely healthy and is standing up on his own 1 hour after his birth. Wow, that's crazy. I wonder if that's like the equivalent to like sucking up.
I think we should take him to the dog park though. We need one.
That's all the time we have tonight at 10. Thanks for watching.